The water footprint is an environmental indicator that measures the water volume of the fresh water, liters or cubic meters, used along all the production chain of a consumer or service goods. It can be used to measure the water consumption of almost anything, from the fabrication of a pair of trousers to the total consumption of a country, passing by the harvest process or by the annual activities of a company. The water footprint helps us to have a reference value to our use of the water and especially to value in which areas we have to improve. It is the starting base to establish an efficient management of the water and to the establishment of certain goals. Traditionally, the evaluations of the various uses for the water were made exclusively measuring or estimating the uptake from the surface or subterranean sources, ignoring the final production of the wells and services, without taking in mind that these products were made in long chains of production with specific consumptions in each state and with different impacts in each zone.
The concept of water sprint was created in 1922 by Arjen Hoekstra, while he was working on the UNESCO HIH Institute for the Relative Education of the Water. Later on, in 1928, because of the increasing interest on the water footprint industry, he founded a water footprint network along with destacable figures from different fields. In summary, the goal of the water footprint is to create awareness about the huge water volume that is required by our production process and living habits, and also to raise and use more rational and sustainable water.
According to the Water Footprint Network, the water footprint consists in three elements in function of the water origin.
Green water footprint. It is the water of rainfall, rain and snow that is stored in the soil, in the root zone. It is particularly relevant for agricultural, horticultural, and forestry products. Blue water footprint. It is the water that originates from the groundwater resources or on the surface. The irrigated agriculture, the industry, and the domestic use of water have a blue water footprint. And finally, gray water footprint. It is the amount of fresh water required to dilute contaminated water in the production process until it complies with quality standards.
In the water footprint ranking, Spain does not rank well. Spain is the 8th country with the largest water footprint in the world and the second in Europe. In fact, the annual water footprint is around 2,500,000 liters per person, almost double the world average. However, the water footprint figures in Spain contrast sharply with that of water consumption.
In Spain, the average water consumption is 132 liters per day, little above the 100 liters of water that the World Health Organization considers necessary to guarantee the coverage of the basic needs of any person. It is in a production process, especially in agriculture, which represents 18% of total water expenditure, where Spain needs to minimize its impact on the different type of water footprint. The water footprint in the Canary Islands, which is used for drinking, cooking, and washing at home, indicates 4,028 cubic meters per capita in the Canary Islands, an average of 5,291 cubic meters in Spain, an average of 7,162 cubic meters per person in the European Union. Water waste from washing warm clothes, obviously in the Canary Islands, is very low due to the good temperatures that Canary have. For clothes, in general terms, the per capita cost of water in island houses is also lower compared to the rest of Spain and the European Union. Domestic organic material, plastic, petroleum products, wood or paper, among others, causes 4,173 tons in homes on the island, while the average for Spain is 5,214 tons and the European Union average is 4,843 tons per capita.
One of the indicators is about contaminated emissions to private transport. The bad point is that the islands produce contamination to consumption of faucet water, a logical thing to desalination influence. However, the Canaries were champions in Spain for the right utilization that we have of the natural resources. And finally, another positive point is that the Canary Islands is where the most water is saved in all Europe to make food.
The study made by the professor Arjen Oestra in collaboration with Arthur Ersin developed the possible water footprint scenarios in Europe by the year 2050 to a national level. Based of the production according to the population and the economic growth, the production and the trading patterns, the consuming patterns, and the technological revolution.
The goal is to estimate the possible changes in the green, blue, and gray water footprints of the production and the consumption, to analyze the key drivers of the projected changes, and to evaluate the future dependence from Europe to the water resources of other parts of the globe. It develops 4 scenarios. Keep in mind the globalization against the regional self-efficiency and the development promoted by economic goals, in comparison to the development boosted by the social and environmental objectives. This study shows that the most critical driver that affects the future of the water footprint in Europe is the consumption pattern. The water footprint, as in the production, as in the consumption of West Europe, increases in scenarios like a high consumption of meat and decreases with scenarios of low consumption of meat. Plus, the additional demand of water by the increasing needs of biofuel will put so much pressure over the European water resources.
Our lifestyles determine the size of our water footprint. The actions that we carry out in our day-to-day implies a consumption of real and virtual fresh water. For example, following the sustainable and healthy diets, such as the Mediterranean diet, also generates benefits for the environment, since the intake of fruits, vegetables, and fish will provide great water savings. This is mainly due to the fact that animal fats and dairy products are the foods that need the most water for their production.
If we talk about half a kilo of butter, about 2,700 liters of water resources are needed for its production. For half a kilo of cheese, 2,500 liters. For a hamburger, about 2,400. And for a bag of chips, 185 liters. Regarding legumes and cereals, rice is the one that consumes the most water, 1,700 liters per half kilo. To produce half a kilo of wheat, 500 liters of water are required. For half a kilo of corn, 450 liters. And for half a kilo of lentils, 25 liters. Some olives, like the ones you get at bar, need 250 liters of water. For a single apple, 70 liters of water are required, and in the case of an orange, 50 liters. In the group of beverages, milk is undoubtedly the one that needs the most water for this production. 1,000 liters to generate 1 liter of milk, 840 liters of water to produce a pot of coffee, 720 liters for a bottle of wine, 190 liters for a glass of apple juice, 106 liters of water to produce a simple beer, or 35 liters for a cup of tea, As you can see, the production of each and every food has a water impact, something that implies that sustainable development in food consumption is necessary.
The main gap in alimentation is still marked by the production of meat foods versus vegetables. To produce a kilogram of lentils, it needs 1,250 liters of water, against the 3,000 that it requires to produce the same amount of beef. Also, the avocado producers reclaims this vegetable to be the most sustainable food to eat. The avocado's footprint, according to the studies of the World Avocado Organization, is lower to the water footprints of other vegetables of common consumption in Spain. The World Avocado Organization claims that they only need 600 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of avocados. Chocolate, among those that leave the most mark. Other institutes dedicated to the impact of food on the planet's water resources, such as the Water Footprint Network, point directly to other plant products with high water consumption. Tea, for example, requires 8,860 liters for every kilogram. Although it is the chocolate that focuses all the attention of scientists with a consumption of water per kilo of 16,196 liters according to the aforementioned organization. On the opposite side, cucurbits, pumpkins, cucumbers, or melons are among the most sustainable crop varieties. A kilo of cucumbers, for example, requires 353 liters.
Some of the little actions to do for lower our water footprint as consumers are: reduce the duration of the showers and close the water during the soaping, and also use heads of ecological showers. Bet on sustainable feeding and reduce the consumption of those foods that require more water, like meat. Support agriculture, cattle raising, and sustainable and local fishing. On the other hand, in the referred to industrial activity, it is recommended implement a quality system of environment, promote recycling, reusing, and ecological consumption within the company, hire suppliers committed to reducing the water footprint, and digitize everything possible to save, for example, paper.
As an extra section for this work, we wanted to carry out a study in our educational center, IES San Nicolás, where after asking various classmates from 4th ESO, we have obtained the following statistics. As we can see, the people who consume less quantity of meat have a much more reduced water footprint than the people who tend to eat meat more than 5 times a week.
This confirms the information that we provided earlier on this essay, because as we already saw in some previous examples, the main gap between the water used in the production of meat and vegetables foods is huge. So the people with eating habits more focused on vegetables and fruits have a minor water footprint.
And finally, that's all. We hope that you enjoyed our video and that we could encourage you to apply some habits to reduce your water footprint and contribute to making our planet a better place. If you want to check your water footprint, as we did with our classmates, we are going to provide you with a link to do a test that will give you all the previous statistics.